Hello everyone, my name is Kevin and this is my blacksmith shop, Red Maple Forge, and today we're doing Scrap Metal Friday. So if you're new and you don't know what Scrap Metal Friday is, I take a piece of scrap metal, sometimes it's just dropped and it's in my little cubby over there, and I either make something with it or I'm trying a new technique. And today is a new technique. I'm actually going to be trying to do a penny scroll. I haven't actually done anything with penny scrolls before, so this is going to be new to me. So if you don't know what a penny scroll is, let me pull up a picture. Sorry, it's going to be on my phone, and I'll see if the camera can pick it up. But basically, maybe that camera won't. Let's flip over to the other camera. See if it looks. So that's pretty well what a penny scroll looks like. It kind of looks like a coin on top of like at the end of a scroll. So I'll be trying to do that. So I briefly have watched a video maybe of like one of those quick videos, like not necessarily a blow by blow of how to do it, but an overall general. So I've watched one, and let's try it. So I'm gonna first try it with a piece of flat bar. Size does not really matter on this. This is just a piece I currently just have floating around. This is 3/8 by I think 1 inch, something like that. So we get the forge up a little bit of heat, and I'll drink some coffee while I'm waiting to. So I do have my, I'm streaming on both Twitch and YouTube. The chat is up there. I can see it. So if you have any questions or anything you want to say, you know, you can put it up there. I'll try and get to it. Yeah. So why penny scroll? Well, I've never done it before, and for whatever reason on one of my social media feeds last night, show me someone doing it. It's one of those quick, like 30-second video of quick overview of how to do it, and I'm like, yeah, let's try it. I only watched it once, so let's see how it is. So, I'll put my tongs away. And because I'm doing this for the first time, I'm not going to be bringing out any big hammers. I'm only going to be using my 2-pounder. So forging will take a little longer than if I actually got a bigger hammer. But because I'm going for form over function right at this point in time, basically I want to make it as good as possible. Especially for the first couple of them. Once I get a little bit more used to doing them, I can probably do them a lot quicker, but like everything, it needs practice. So great use of my scrap metal or drop steel. So when I say drop steel, what I mean is when I cut off the stuff I need for projects and there's like that little random piece that I don't know what to use for, that's what I call drop steel. It's basically the leftover when you do that big project or small projects. That little tiny piece that's left over. Basically anything under 2 feet, I kind of grab into that kind of group because, yeah. Now, of course, on certain size of my steel, so my 3/16 and 1/4 inch, I'll use stuff as small as 3 inches on that stuff. So it is not, I don't have as many decent sized drop pieces for that. But almost every other size that I bring in here, I will. So. And this piece of flat bar, I actually brought in to do bottle openers with. And I did a whack of them, and I just didn't continue on it. One of the things with my shop is I'm very production oriented, and I'm very money oriented. So there's some things that I steer away from, even though I can do them. I steer away from because there's other smiths that have spent numerous amounts of time and money to get their system really solid in place. And for me to even compete with that, that's a little bit out of my... I just don't see a value in it. So I'll let them do their bottle openers. So basically the first thing I'm going to do is isolate. Well, the first thing I'm going to do is switch over to the other camera. I'm going to isolate basically a cube. So the same thickness or width of the steel. I'm going to take the length. I'm going to start isolating that tip. So right on the edge of the anvil where I have a half decent edge. I'm going to basically set that shoulder. This is probably a lot thicker steel than I would ever do this on, but it is what I have. Basically, as I make that shoulder, I'm keeping the steel up on an angle, about a 45, and I'm bringing that material I upset back down. I want to keep the thickness the same as the parent. So we'll just keep on working that a little bit. And I'm going to be working that shoulder down to about, so it's only a quarter of the material left. Or at least that's what I think is going to be good for this. For some reason, today YouTube is not, for some reason I'm not able to see who is online, or if anyone is online. For whatever reason, I'm not sure why. But I believe I'm streaming okay. So yeah, both YouTube and Twitch look like they're pretty happy. I don't know if my chat is working. Sorry, I'm just gonna close the chat and reopen it on YouTube just to make sure. But it looks pretty stable today. I did make a change in my overall network. Basically, I bought a new router for the office, and the router that was in the office has moved into the shop. So it looks a lot more stable. The router that was in the shop was quite old, and it didn't have what they're calling the mesh protocol, or whatever you want to call it. Basically, the two routers pair together to work as one system. The old router that was in the shop didn't have that, but now both of my routers do. So works out quite nice. Or at least it looks like it's working out quite nice. that I've set the shoulder to basically where I want it. I'm not worried about this going down. It actually will help us in the end. So I'm just cleaning up a little bit on my shoulder. And now I'm going to start shaping the end of it into a nice round shape. We're gonna heat on that. Now, one thing I am going to be doing is I'm going to heat a good portion of this bar, even the shoulder. And I'm going to keep an eye on that shoulder because I don't want to put too much stress on that shoulder while I'm forging it, or you will start getting cracks. So I want to make sure I keep that warm and don't work it too cold. Now, if you've been able to see the streams before, I have moved my secondary camera right here. It usually sits up here and goes down on an angle. I'm kind of trying it this time right against the anvil just so you can see a little bit better of what I'm doing. Or at least I'm hoping you can see a little better what I'm doing here. It does have weight on the bottom of the tripod, so I'm hoping that it's not bouncing too much while I am working. And I have a feeling that making this round is going to be one of the hardest challenges on this. It is not something that I do a lot of. Getting there. It's getting there. It's getting there. So we're gonna heat on that. Keep working that into more of a coined circle shape. Now, after doing the flat bar one, I do plan on trying it with a square bar as well. I probably will use 1/2 inch. That is what I have the most of, sitting there in the scrap metal or drop pieces. Yeah, definitely getting this round is probably the hardest part for me. I have a feeling I might have grabbed a little bit bigger of a cube than what I should have. A cube. I think I isolated a little too much on the end. But this is why I'm doing it, so I can practice and improve. We're getting there. Getting there. Oh, that's why. It logged me out on YouTube. Okay, that's why the software is not showing up. There we go. Got it fixed. As a creator, it automatically logs me out of my programs after a certain amount of days. And I guess I hit it with my OBS. So right now that I got my little, let's call it coin, almost to the point where I want it. I got a little bit right at the tip. where it's a little bit not as round as I want. But it's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's good for a first time, I think. So yeah, I did definitely grab a little bit too much material. So right now what I'm doing is just straighten up everything. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get the isolation here. I'm trying to get that centered in the bar. So if you notice on this particular side, it has a nice taper. That was the original isolation, where this side doesn't have that nice taper. So what I want to do is match this taper and that taper together and have this isolation in the center. Or I should say the shoulder of that isolation be in the center. And one of the tools I will be using today is my nut rounder or adjustable wrench. For this particular way I'm doing this penny screw, you actually take the steel and you turn it a quarter of a turn, so 90 degrees. So right now I'm just going to come in here . Right now what I'm trying to do is I got a little bit of thickness here and there in the taper. And what I mean by thickness, I mean based on the parent material. I'm trying to keep all of this the same width. So we're getting close to it. We're getting close. So actually on next heat, this is when I'm going to take my little coin shape or penny and turn it a quarter of a turn or 90 degrees from the parent material. I'm just checking right now, seeing if I put too much stress on here. I do see a little bit of what looks like cracking. What I want to do is before I twist, I'm going to just give that a clean, just so I can see how that steel is acting right now. Because if I am getting a little bit of cracks, I'd rather spend some time now to get that like either file out or grind out. And why those cracks are happening is just because the stresses of me shaping that front into that coin shape stretches all the way down where it's actually thinner, a little bit weaker material, and that will just bend a little bit back and forth, which will cause work hardening and stresses on the steel. So I just want to take a brush right now, and I want to take a look to see. So I do have a little hairline cracks there, but it looks like it's just surface. Unfortunately, I can't show it on camera because you won't see it anyways. The camera won't pick it up, I don't think. Maybe. There's this one little crack right there. but I don't think it goes too deep. I think it's very much a surface kind of thing. So I'm gonna keep on I'm gonna keep moving along with this one, because why not? So I am gonna move my secondary camera over to the vise for the next step of this, and hopefully I can think this through before setting up everything, so I don't have to worry about banging my camera while I'm doing this. Unfortunately, this bar I think is too far long to actually go straight up, so I'm probably going to have to do it on the side. We'll just have to see how it works. Like I said, we're going to only do a 90-degree turn on this. I'm going to take a few seconds now just to get it as straight as possible. So that's all we did. And now the next step is to clean that twist up so it doesn't look like it's been twisted. Hence why I was really concerned about having cracks in it. Because if the cracks are too big, this is where it's going to break on this next step. And you don't want to really force these cracks or cold shuts too much down into the steel. Let's see. Just back that up a little bit. So this is really just blending in that twist as much as possible. If you do twist it out a little bit more, take it to the edge of the anvil. And I think that has blended it in quite nicely. Just a little bit up here, a little bit down there. I'm going to spend a little time fixing the roundness of this. Now, ultimately, you would like to have this a little bit more circle than my current shape. But it doesn't, for what is my first try at this, it's not too bad. So now that we got it set up like that, now we're going to actually finish scrolling that over so it's actually a scroll. And pretty well this is the same as every other scroll that you're gonna do. Actually, I'm gonna leave it on because there is a possibility that I might be able to, I might decide to do something with this in a later date, as in a project or something. It might show up on the wall behind me. And I know I haven't got the shelf brackets up yet. I know, they're still on the floor where I left them on Monday. It's a work in progress. I was more concerned trying to get the stream running a little better, which it doesn't look like I dropped the frame today, so that's a lot better. Yesterday's stream was terrible. Anyways, gonna go over and just start scrolling this, doing the scroll on it. Now, because that shoulder of that isolation is a lot thinner than everything else, you want to be careful when you're hitting that you don't over bend it. And because my penny is not as nice as I would like it from a circular point of view, yeah, I don't like how I pulled that too close. So we'll try that again. We'll straighten that up and try that again. It is very hard to yeah. This is why we practice. I don't know if my scrolling tongs will actually open that up again. I'm sure it will if I give it a good enough heat. Wow. This is 1/8" steel, so it's being a little bit more stubborn. So this is actually quite tough, even on my scrolling tongs. I knew I had my bending fork around here somewhere. So I'm gonna get another heat on it. Now that I've gotten this far, I know you're not gonna see any of the things. So I'm just basically bringing that back. I wanna open that up. Again. I shrunk it a little bit too far. It won't, I don't think it's gonna look right. So I got a really rude, crude bend-in fork, which is this 2 1/2" pieces around, welded on a 3/4" bar. Yeah, you can see the vise. It's not the best angle, but you can see the vise. Okay, now that I've done that, I'm gonna actually bring my penny further in. Trying to keep everything straight as much as I can. So right now I'm just, my little penny, I'm just trying to get right in the middle of the parent material as best as I can. Oh yeah, that camera's not aimed right. I'm just trying to get it centered in that bar. Tighten it right up with it. Definitely mucking around with this a lot more than I expected. So while I finish this one off, I'm gonna grab a 1/2-inch bar. So I can try it with 1/2 inch as well. And I'm trying to find a bar that, oh, how about the one I used the other day? Is that long enough? Yeah, that would be long enough. I want to start getting this heated up. So after I get this, the flat bar one curved, which I'm really hoping that this is the last heat for this, because I'm at a point where I don't think I'm going to get it back into force. At least not nicely. There we go. I'm not 100% happy with that. I would have liked that coin there to be a little bit more round. And I know that is just, I just grabbed too much material. So next time I do this, just grab a little bit less. We'll put that down there, and we're going to be moving on to a 1/2-inch bar. This is square. So up first, I want to do that isolation again. And I'm going to take half, and I am going to isolate it where I'm much like I would with the leaf, where I'm taking a hit, turning 90 degrees, going back and taking a hit, going back to the first spot. And I'm being very deliberate with my blows, not coming in here and wailing away on it, as in speed-wise. I'm taking it down to roughly half the material. Now this is going to be a little bit more of me thinking what's next. The flat bar is a little bit more simple to imagine how to do it. The square is a little bit difficult, because you want to have a taper on basically 3 sides. So maybe on this, I should bring that. Leave the isolation for the roundness, the round coin. So, yeah. Yeah. So I'm going to take a second and start rounding this off while it's still a big blob. And I'm doing that in hope that when I squish this down, it will make a nice kind of penny shape. I'm going to actually go a little bit here and hit a little bit on the back. And what that will do is will help prevent this corner right here from the shoulder actually getting a cold shut. This one is definitely more risky of getting a cold shut if you are not paying attention. And if you don't know what I'm talking about with the cold shut, it's where the steel folds over on itself. Steel folds over on itself. Normally it's a sharp corner that you hit down and it kind of folds over. And then it doesn't, because there's like scale or it's not hot enough, it doesn't like forge weld with what's underneath. And that overlap as you're forging gets further and further down in the steel. And then you can end up getting cracks and hold that. So I want to take a few blows really low on the anvil and bringing it up just to help to make sure I don't get those cold shuts. So if you are doing leaves and you're having problems where you are getting cold shuts and things are just breaking off, doing the whole taking it to the anvil this way and bringing it up and rolling that that little forge tapered a little better reduces the risk of actually flattening those corners onto themselves and getting a cold shut. At least that's the theory I'm going on. So right now I'm just cleaning up a little bit of the corners. And then I'm going to bring it down to a little bit closer to the thickness I want. Almost got my little coin how I want it. I want to spread it out just a little bit more and smooth it out a little bit. Give it the best chance of looking good. Now this one I will be doing that quarter twist like I did on the other one. I'm sure someone with a lot more practice can do this without actually doing the twist, but so right now what I'm doing is cleaning up the tapers on the main bar. So that's where I'm at now. So I think on my next heat, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do the twist on this next heat. Go. Like I said, just a quarter turn or 90 degrees. And now we'll just clean up that twist a little bit. Nope, that's the wrong one. We're just going in here and flattening down that little twist. Basically, it caused new corners to be twisted in it because you just twist the corners over. And we're just flattening down those corners so they're less noticeable. And I'm going to straighten up everything. On the next, we'll start doing the scroll, and hopefully it works out. I definitely need a bigger clock so I can see where my time is sitting. Okay, that's getting a little, back end of that steel is getting a little warm. So I'm gonna bring out a glove just to protect me a little bit, even though this glove is not the best because I have gone through one of the fingers, but it will protect me a little bit anyways. Okay. So we're just tucking that coin in on that scroll. Just seeing if I have a different piece of flat bar, maybe thinner. Unfortunately, I don't think I do. Maybe that one. Just to give it a shot with a different piece of flat bar. And do the same, but hopefully better technique with another piece of flat bar. I'm actually going to scroll that just a little bit more. Just a little bit more. And while I'm doing that, start preheating another piece of flat bar. This one I will need tongs. Or I forgot I still have my brick on the inside. Oh well. So yesterday, because I was doing the pins, or I should say scribes, these guys, I blocked off one side of my my forge, and I forgot to unblock it while doing this. Not that I've needed it to be unblocked so far. Yeah, I would like to get that penny a little bit closer in here. We'll try that to get that really close on the next one. I don't know if I can pull it in. I don't think I can right now. Now I could unroll this and straighten that up and roll it back up. But I think I'm just going to move on to another piece of steel. I'm more mentioning what I think needs to get corrected because, well, it's me working out the whole process of this. But also, if I'm doing it, it's probably common that other people do it, so might as well mention it. So this piece is 1 inch thick as well, but this is only going to be 1 inch wide and 1/4 inch thick. And I'm going to drop the glove because I'll be using tongs with this. My box tongs, actually. Box tongs. These guys I made a couple of weeks ago during a live stream. So if you like this stream and you haven't been able to see all the back ones, you know, maybe you'll check this out. So these box tongs were made for my files, so they're a little loose for this. So again, I'm just trying actually different things to see what may or may not be easier. Now this is definitely one of these things that if I was using something like a 1/4 inch there and doing a bunch of these, I probably would actually cut out kind of a blank on my plasma cutter that already has the perfect circle on the top, tapered, and then the body, that I could easily do that 1/4 turn, scroll it, and then weld it to whatever I was making with it. And then blend the welds, of course, and all that. That's like, say if I was doing a garden trellis or a railing or, you know, that kind of stuff. If I was doing a lot of these, that's probably the way I would go with it. So I'm actually going to leave that shoulder a little bit bigger right at this point in time while I work that head. A little bit more circle. Just so I have a little bit more steel to abuse while I'm doing the circling. Because it's easier to take that shoulder down than it is to correct a crack that you get in a shoulder that you've already completely worked down. So again, this is the process of me thinking how to do this better and using my experience. And that is, in my experience with cracks, It's one of three things. One, you're just dealing with really bad steel, which is very, unless you're using mystery steel, it's very uncommon for today's steel to be garbage steel. Unless you're using something like, rebar. Rebar, don't touch that stuff. Come on, just don't. But like stuff that you buy from like a steel supplier and all that, very unlikely that it's going to be a flaw in the steel. The mills, they have different grades, and most of the stuff, if not all the stuff that you're going to buy from a steel supplier is going to be at the A grade. If you're buying right from the mill, you can get B grade steel, but most of the time the steel you're getting is A grade steel. So the second thing that you normally get cracks with is that you have a cold shut. So somehow you have folded the steel over and it has folded on itself, and you have worked it down into the parent material, and you have that. And then the third way is that you just stress the steel too much, especially at lower temperatures. So this is why I'm leaving that shoulder thick right now, so I can get that circle looking a lot nicer. And definitely this circle, compared to the first one, looks a lot cleaner. And I think that just comes down to starting off with the right material right off the get-go. And sometimes it's really weird trying to think of how to hit something, because I got a little bulge up right here. And it's like, how do I hit that to get that down? That's the fun part. And like hit that down without messing up something else. I got a little bit of forge nastiness stuck on my piece right now. What I mean by nastiness is all the scale that has built up in my forge over the years, the 13 years of having that forge without relining it, has built up quite a bit of scale on the bottom. So sometimes when the forge gets nice and hot, that comes off. So that looks nice and rounded. So I'm going to go and do a twist now. Actually, I'm going to work that shoulder just a little bit more. Not much, just a little bit. We're kind of at that 3/8 kind of thing. I want to go a little bit smaller, just a little bit. I want to be a little bit, I want to say a heavy 1/4 inch. So closer to 1/4 inch than 3/8, but not quite as small as 1/4 inch. Yeah. And I'm just eyeballing all this, so yeah. Actually, we're probably more closer to 1/2 inch right at this point in time. So I'm just gonna start cleaning this up. Start cleaning up the tapers. I did add some thickness into the bar with the tapers and hammering them down. So I want to thin that out a little bit. Knock that shoulder. And just a little bit more. Make sure we're all nice and straight. And I think I'm at a stage where I want to twist that now. So we'll go over to the vise and twist it. Sorry, I forgot to change the camera. And just getting ready for the twist. Here we go. We're just doing it parallel or 90 degrees. And get a good heat on that. And then we'll clean up that corner or that shoulder. Knock down those that twist a little bit so we can kind of hide that we twisted it. Actually, quite interested in how many people have joined on the YouTube today. Apparently 15 people has joined. Guess you guys have nothing to do on a Friday than look at me. And why shouldn't you spend your Friday afternoon with me? Pretty well, I got that. Oh, this is gonna look good. I already know this is gonna look better than all the previous ones. Already know. Or I'm gonna tell you it's gonna look better than all the rest, and you're just gonna believe me because I told you it looks better than the rest. This is going to be the best one I've ever done. So I got that, I should show you. Got that twist blended in quite well. I probably could muck around a little bit more with it. Do a little bit more plenishing, but that looks nice and clean. So we'll start getting this scrolled up, and I want to get this looking as close to the picture of the other guy's stuff as I can. Maybe I should go and look at that picture again to make sure. You know. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so the picture I showed you at the beginning, it wasn't as tightly, the penny wasn't as tightly rolled in. Another thing, if I was going to do a whack of these, I probably would jig up the scrolling part of this, just so they're all consistent. Now, I don't have any plans for any of these at this point in time, so I don't have to necessarily worry about it. I'm going to actually heat that up and pull that penny a little bit out. Bug Thug, hello. So basically how I started 17 years ago is I found a blacksmith that offered courses in my area. I actually had to drive an hour away to take the course. It was a weekend course, and yeah, if you're just starting out, take a course first. They can be expensive, and if you're looking for a blacksmith, just Google blacksmith near me, and you'll probably find one or two in your area. I currently don't do courses because, well, what you see is pretty well how big my shop is. So I don't have the room for multiple people in here. So yeah, take a course with a blacksmith. There's also some hobbyist blacksmiths that offer courses too. So when I say hobbyist, I mean not full-time blacksmiths. So that's what I would recommend. Take a course first. Make sure you actually enjoy doing it. Then when you take that course and you come back, get yourself set up with a forge. You know, there's some many different forges now on Amazon and stuff like that are both coal and propane, and they're in around the $100-$150 range. Anvil. So for an anvil, you could just use a chunk of steel at first and then move up to a real anvil. But now even anvils are not getting too bad in price. Even starting off with like an 88-pound Weaver anvil will get you started. For me, this is actually a career. I went full-time last year with this. Like I said, I've been doing it for 17 years, and last February, was the time I actually moved full-time on it. And it is, I don't want to say it's hard work, it's a lot of practice. And being okay of failure. Like I've never done penny scrolls before, and I have no problem showing you guys this monstrosity and stuff, because when I first started, I did like 100 hooks before moving on to anything else. And yeah, when you're starting off, I say just pick a simple project, either your J hooks or doing leaves, like leaf keychains, bottle openers. Do those and do, 10 of them, 20 of them, sometimes even 100. What you should be able to do is make 2 identical. If you can start making 2 identical without really like spending too much time, and what I mean too much time is like every hammer blow you look in and all that. When you can get it down to doing it constantly, where they're looking as closely as possible to each other, then I would say move on. Now, as you get the basics in, then other stuff really comes a lot quicker. So, like, it might take you like 4 hours to get 2 hooks that look the same when you're first starting out. But then after many hours of doing basic projects, when you start doing more complex projects, then it is goes a lot quicker. I tell you, 17 years ago, if I tried this, I would still be working on the first one. And I've never done these before, so it looks pretty good. It looks pretty good. A lot more practice, of course. I don't like this little tiny kink up in here. Might not be able to see it too well, but yeah, there's a little tiny kink in here that I would have liked to clean up a little bit more. But I know I have customers that if I brought this to them, they would be like so amazed by it. So as for fantasy weapons, I don't do fantasy weapons too much, but what I will say is don't limit yourself to an idea that you have to do it period correct, unless that's what you want to do. If your end goal is to make a really cool fantasy weapon or a weapon that's off of it, then I wouldn't limit myself to using a coal forge, no power hammer, and stuff like that. Now to make swords and like battle axes, it depends on if you have a buddy that can swing a hammer as well. If you have a bunch of guys that can actually swing hammers, you don't need a press or a power hammer. I have a press, I don't have a power hammer. I wish I had a power hammer, but that's not happening yet. Because you can move a lot of steel with a guy striking, like with a sledgehammer, more so than what my press can do, or even a power hammer, unless you go to the big power hammer. Yeah, but I don't know how much they eat. I think, oh no, it's the hobbits that eat more, I think. Basically, the best advice I can give outside of taking a course, making sure that you actually enjoy doing it before spending tons of money on it, is practice. And be okay with failing. Yeah, be okay with failing. Your first knife, axe, stuff like that is not going to look good. With axes, I would probably if I was gonna do a fantasy axe, I would probably go out and buy the cheapest axe I could find and forge weld or even stick weld a bigger blade on it, just to get you started. But yeah, yeah, definitely take a course. And I know up by me, and when I say up by me, I mean in Canada and Ontario, there are people that do axe courses. So actually, my first axe was actually during an axe course with the, we'll call Master Smith. And it's in rough shape, but I got it over here somewhere. It is a little dusty, sorry. But this is an axe I made at an axe making course. Don't judge me on how dirty it is and how rusty it is. And that was pretty well all done by yeah, what's the word I'm looking for? So that axe was actually all done by hand, other than forging out the blade. The blade was done by a power hammer. It was me and I want to say the kid that I was working with was like, he was in the 14 to 16 range. Like that was, we how it worked out was both of us were working on our own axe, but we were helping each other out. So how it worked and how this particular smith does his courses, he has it where one guy is helping you by holding the big chunk of steel on the anvil, while the other guy is taking the splitter, punch, or drift and wailing away on it. So yeah, take a course. Yeah, normally a lot of blacksmiths will have you take what they call the beginner's course, which is normally making basic tools, so punches, chisels, a pair of tongs. They'll also teach you how to do J hooks and stuff like that. At least that's what I've seen most do. And they will also give you some knowledge to get you started if you want to do it. And then they will offer more courses afterwards. Yeah. But that's the best way to start, is taking a course. The amount of time and money you will save by that experience of learning with someone that does it on a regular basis is well worth your time from watching YouTube videos and trying out new stuff and stuff. Yeah, my accent, yeah. We're all about the forging. I don't know. I can't do any other real accents. I'm sorry. Yeah, so I'm going to be trying with a square bar again, because what time are we sitting at? I really need a bigger clock. Yeah, I still got a little bit of time. So we'll try this with a square bar again, unless my propane is running low. Yeah, I should be okay. We're getting a little frosty today. So unfortunately, when I got my last tanks, they didn't have any 30 pounders. So I got stuck with getting 20 pounders. And the 20 pounders, even running 2 at a time, don't really keep up with my forge. So this time I'm trying it where I'm reducing all 3, I'm going on 3 sides as opposed to 2, just to see if that helps. I doubted it will. I think going back, doing all 3, doing just 2 sides of the isolation is probably best. But I'm gonna come in here and clean up my shoulders a little bit. I will say, when I started, that many long time ago, YouTube wasn't a thing. So like you basically had to learn either by trial and error or by talking to other people. So YouTube has really opened up what can be taught. And yeah, I do enjoy, even though I do this full time, I do enjoy watching other people forge stuff. I'm really big in tools. I'm not a huge fan of swords and knives. It just doesn't appeal to me. Don't get me wrong, I really appreciate the amount of effort and time people put in with swords and knives. It's just not, I'd rather make a battle axe or a war hammer. That's just me. I don't know where I'm going with that one. Yeah. Don't know. But I will say that now that I am doing this as a business and have been building to it, I was part-time for that whole like 16 years, slowly building more and more. As I got closer to moving full-time, I got more into looking at more business stuff than actually forging. So I still have my favorite blacksmiths that I watch quite regularly. But there are some that I used to watch that I just don't watch anymore. Some of it is that the audience they're going for is the new audience, like the new to blacksmith and the hobbyist blacksmith kind of thing. But yeah, my YouTube watching has changed from watching people make random stuff, forging random stuff, and more business now. So I think I grabbed a little bit too much material while I was isolating this. So I'm coming in with my cross peen to try and spread the material where I need it. So this one might not be as smooth, as in the thickness might not be consistent all the way around. So right now, before I get that shoulder too much more worked down, I really want to get that rounded up a lot more. Sorry, one of my tanks have decided to freeze right up, so I had to abandon that one tank. So yeah, currently I'm just using regular 20-pound barbecue tanks. I normally like the 30-pound ones, but like I said, the hardware store I get them from, they did not get replacement of the 30-pounders. So I was stuck getting 20-pounders this time. And really the only difference is how long I can run the forge before they freeze out and they get low. I almost got this to a roundness that kind of looks round. Flip you back over. And that's where I'm getting there. So spend a little bit more time cleaning that up. Yeah. I'm running low on coffee. Running low on coffee. Right now I'm just cleaning this up. On my next heat, I'm gonna squeeze this, slide this over a little bit. I'm gonna try and not have to twist this one. just going to come in here, straighten this up, try and get those tapers looking good. Do a little bit of plenishing. Take out the small hammer marks. Okay, so got that centered now. The parent material. And I think at this time we're going to curl that up, start doing that scroll. Get in there. Oh, drop forged. Get a good solid heat on that. I'm taking a little bit more time and really thinking about how I hit this. I'm trying not to whack right on here, just to try and stop this little shoulder from kinking like the other ones did. And after a couple of hits, I'm taking a look at it, seeing where I am, and adjusting as I need. I think this one I'll leave where it is. I'll leave it how it is. Again, I don't have actually any particular project I'm doing these for. This is just practice. So we'll just go through them. I know this one won't be hot yet. Or anymore. Okay. So let's go through them. This is the first one with the flat bar. Not terrible. Again, took a little bit too much material for the coin, and that's why I couldn't get it nice and round. And then we'll just compare it to the second flat bar one. So where am I? Ah, okay. So that's the second one, flat bar. So the two in comparison. And then, actually, I'll just throw those down on the ground for now. And then we'll go for the 1/2 inch square. So this one's the first one. I probably shouldn't pick that up with the tongs. I don't need to. So that's the first one, the square. And then that's the one I just finished now. So there's the two. So there we go. Me practicing my penny squirrels. Well, if you can't hear it from the sound of my forge, it sounds like it's weekend time. So, I think at this point in time, I'll thank you all for joining. I really appreciate it. I hope at bare minimum I entertained you, if not taught you something. And yeah, you guys have a good weekend. And on Monday, I'll be doing some maintenance or shop improvements. What that will be, I'll tell you on Monday, because right now I have no idea. So I'll see you guys Monday, 1:30 Eastern time.